Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, listening on the Jackalopes YouTube channel. My name is Michael Wazinski, calling this game between Odessa and the Shreveport Mudbugs remotely here from the Ector County Coliseum. This will be the last remote broadcast of the regular season, as again, the Jacks are on quite a travel trip right now across state lines over in Shreveport, Louisiana, for a weekend series to start the month of March against 5th place Shreveport Mudbugs, who are currently nipping at the Jacks' heels with a record of 22-17, 1-4, good for 49 points. As the Jacks are tied with Wichita Falls for 3rd place in the South Division. They have a record of 24-17, 1-4, good for 53 points. They have played 2 more games than Shreveport so far this regular season. The Mudbugs have had 3 games get canceled on them and or postponed. They're making one of them up this Sunday against the New Mexico Ice Wolves. So 3-3 for Shreveport and a regular traditional 2-game weekend series for the Jacks. Here's how the rest of the South Division looks so far. Ice Wolves 1st place, 2nd place Lone Star Brahmas. Tied for 3rd are the Warriors and the Jacks. Then in 5th place is Shreveport. Right behind them, the Ice Rays, followed up by the Wranglers. And then almost mathematically eliminated will be the El Paso Rhinos. Now this weekend, there is a whole slate of good games coming out of the South Division. Ice Wolves versus Brahmas, top 2 teams in the South Division going toe-to-toe this weekend. Then you have, of course, the Jacks going up against the Mudbugs, and then the Warriors going up against Corpus Christi. So both the Jacks and the Warriors playing the teams right behind them in the standings. And then that leaves Amarillo going up against El Paso for a weekend series. Proctor's between the pipes for the Jacks in their black and red jerseys. Devin Boback in between the pipes for the Shreveport Mudbugs in their white jerseys with purple numbering as they go left to right. As it's sent down near side and getting hit up high, knocking a helmet off as there's more pushing and shoving already going on in that far corner within the first 14 seconds of this opening period. Desmond Johnsman appeared to have gotten his bell rung. The last time these two teams played one another was that line brawl that took place at the Ector County Coliseum. Lucas Sedlicek has a total of 66 penalty minutes against Odessa this season, and Charlie Bankier has the most for the Jacks at 47 against Shreveport. So these two teams are no strangers to one another in terms of dropping the gloves. Odessa had 116 penalty minutes combined back on November 27th in that line brawl night, and the Mudbugs had 146. So the Jacks off to an early power play opportunity within the first 15 seconds. A power play, much like their opponent for this weekend series, that has been struggling to say the least. The Jacks are 26 out of 29 teams on the man advantage. Their opponent is 28th out of 29. So special teams, something that both of these teams need to work on if, of course, you want to extend into the playoffs, because they will be pivotal turning points in certain games as the Mudbugs playing out to the red line. Played over and sent all the way down for Boback. Launched out by Shreveport as they get fresh legs onto the ice. Tallene will bring it out behind Alex Proctor. He'll send it to the right side. Volkema had a head contact minor as he heavily took off the helmet and almost the head of Desmond Johnson on an opening hit. They get it over to the right circle off to the left of Boback, who is ranked one of the best goals against average right now in the North American Hockey League with a 2.10 goals against average. He is my player to watch for Shreveport this weekend. He has been given a lot of work and attention so far this regular season. It is his first and last year here in the NAHL. Since his two teams last met on November 27th at Thanksgiving weekend, including that game, Bobak has played 21 games of 25, Buechler getting the other 4. Shreveport picks it up from their left circle and fire it out. 18-10 left to go here in the first period. Still a scoreless hockey game. And only 15 seconds left on Volkema's head contact minor. Jacks get to the blue line and fire below the goal line off to the left side of Bobak. Jacks were off last weekend. It's great to be back behind a headset for you Jackalopes fans and calling what should be a very good weekend series. And Volkema's out as we get back to even strength hockey. Have a man out in front and a good poke check from Proctor. Him and Wojciechowski were right in front of Proctor's net, and they were able to get their sticks on that frozen rubber and negate a scoring opportunity for Shreveport. Odessa is 4-0 against the Mudbugs this season, and it's been quite some time since they won 6. They're looking to do so with 2 wins this weekend, which will not only, of course, keep them in a playoff spot, but keep Shreveport further away. It's, again, a 2-win weekend, at least against the Jacks, will put Shreveport up at 53 points and make it possibly a 3-way tie, depending on how Wichita Falls fares against Corpus Christi this weekend. But this is number 5 of 8 between these two teams, and the Jacks haven't seen them since Thanksgiving, as the longest separation or gap between games played against any other South Division team, as it's sent over to that far side wall. Heidi keeps it alive. Back up to the line, they play it. Top of the left point, they fire one. Fights through a screen over to the far side, and it looks like the Jacks will head to a penalty kill as a Mudbug was tripped from behind. And Shreveport to the power play. About 3:15 into this first period of 3. Here in game number 1 from Shreveport, Louisiana, Georgia's Hirsch Pond Coliseum. Again, doing this call remotely from the confines of the Ector County Coliseum. So thank you again for tuning in wherever you may be on this audio-only YouTube live feed. Jacks will be home for their final homestand over the course of the next 4 weeks, playing 8 straight home games that will wrap up on April Fool's weekend against the Shreveport Mudbugs team. And who knows what the standings will look like by then. And then the Jacks will end their final 4 games in Amarillo and then New Mexico at the middle of April. And it's jabbed out by the Jacks as they get 4 new legs on the ice while on this Kenner printing penalty kill. As Desmond Johnson drew a penalty after that head contact from Volkema, and then he took a tripping call as they poke checked it right back to the red line, but the Jacks were unable to gather it at that Mudbugs logo. So now Shreveport will bring it up the right wing wall. Simpson tries to dig it out from that near side corner. Jacks come away with it. And they'll softly play it into that near side corner. Gato with it behind Bobak. Now to Green. Played over to the near side and fired deep. Over to the half wall on the far side. Shreveport with it, still on the power play. Referee is Ryan Siegel, linesman Dane Hopkins, and Brad Sotak. Simpson with it. Back up top. Top of the left circle, they fire one, broken up. As fought off from Proctor. Back up top, they play it. Now through the slot, they fire one. Glove save by Proctor. A huge left-handed save by the Dallas, Texas native, keeping this a scoreless affair. With just 3 seconds left on the clock on the Kenner printing penalty kill for the Odessa Jackalopes. They went 0 for 1 on their power play opportunity, looking to do the same for Shreveport. Played back up top. It will bounce out to the neutral zone. Dropped back. It was a 2-on-2, and getting it was Howard. Jacks have it far side. Jacks haven't been to George's Pine Hirsch Coliseum since October 1st. And the second, they send it out in front, blocked by the Jacks. And now they will sling it rink wide. J.R. Purdy in after it below the goal line. Off to the left side of Devin Boback. Players come down. Hand is raised. And it looks like it's going to go against Odessa. Boback was racing back to the bench. And it's going to be a tripping call against the Jacks, their second year of the evening. This time it's going to be Dane Hoyer, my player to watch for the Jacks this weekend series, as he has been lights out in the month of February. Not just him, but others, of course. But he had 6 goals and 2 assists in 8 games. Again, the Jacks were off last weekend. Could have possibly picked up more. And he was given honorable mention for forward of the month for February. It's slowed out in front. They shoot and score. A rebound slowly played over in front for Proctor. And there was a bouncing puck between the circles. Connor Gato with a power play goal. It's 1-0 Shreveport. And it's another game of the Jacks allowing a power play goal. As they have not allowed, last time they did not allow a power play goal was on February 4th against Corpus Christi. The Jacks penalty kill is ranked 22nd in the NHL at 78.5%. Shreveport is now 1 for 2 and just a little over 6 minutes into this opening period. So Connor Gato, number 7, the top-line centerman for the Shreveport Mudbugs team, scores first. For them, it's a power play goal, and their 39th goal here in period number 1. They were 17-6-1 when scoring the game's first goal. However, they don't score too often. They're only minus 1, I should say, in goals differential. 119 goals for, now 120 goals against. And that was after a tripping call against Dane Hoyer. Played all the way back up top. They wanted a tip. Rebounds picked up in the right circle by Odessa. As Hughes plays it forward. Good is back in the action, as is Yates, which is huge to get that traditional group back together, along with Justin Hughes. Banked off the penalty box boards. Now with it is Good. Good tries to dance his way through the neutral zone. He'll gather that puck in the far side corner. 13:05 remaining here in the first period. Jacks come away with it. The last time these two teams met, the Jacks put Shreveport on an 8-game losing streak, their longest in franchise history. And then they followed that up by winning 6 straight. That is Shreveport that I'm talking about in that scenario. They have won 6 straight, 5 straight, but had that 8-game losing streak as well. And that bounces off the far side boards all the way back up top, near side left point. Sent deep by Jack Kristen. Right back to him, right at the half boards. And that one's Sent all the way back out to the red line as Kristen has the back pedal. He'll play catch, gets it back near side. Jacks have scored 17 goals in the 4 games that they have played against Shreveport this season. As for the Mudbugs, if you count this one, it is number 6 for them in now 5 games played. As Proctor will cover that one up for a whistle. So we're just about 8 minutes into this opening period. Here from Shreveport, Louisiana, as tied for third place, Odessa goes up against 5th place Shreveport. Now, if the playoffs were to start today, this would be a matchup of Odessa versus New Mexico in the first round, and Lone Star up against Wichita Falls. But there is still a lot of hockey left to be played the entire month of March, and then some of the teams still have 3-3 series going on as well. The Jacks will only ever play 2 throughout the rest of the regular season. $11:30 left to go here in the opening period. Sedlacek fires one wide off the end boards. Played over to the near side. And now going away with it was Duclair. Purdy across. They tried to send it. They fired it right back into a body in front. As Manzo was unable to settle down. Duclair races back after it. Picked up by Mitchell. And now with it was Devorny. Gockler stripped him of the puck. And they're working on back to the defense. Over 9 minutes gone here in period number 1. Mudbugs up 1-0. And Jacks have only shut out a team once this season. And it was the first ever meeting between these two teams during the regular season back on October 1st by a score of 5-0. And Proctor has now played in all 5 games between these two teams. Boback with a record of 0-2-1 against the Jacks this season. He's playing in game number 4 of 5. But he is my player to watch for them, as we not only had an offside call, but also a media timeout here with 10:42 remaining from the Georges Pond Hirsch Coliseum. But Boback from Northwood, Ohio. He's a 20-year-old and is ranked 3rd among goalies with a goals against average of 2.10 and a save percentage of .918. Puts him in a tie for 7th. He's a 6'4", 195-pound left-handed goalie, has a season record of 18-9-1-3. Surprisingly enough, that is the exact same record as the man in the net 200 feet away from him, Alex Proctor, for this matchup here, game number 1 of this weekend series. But his 18 wins put him in a tie for 5th with not only Proctor but another goaltender as well. But he does have the 3rd most shutouts this season with 5. And he has allowed 11 goals against in his current 3 finished games against the Jacks this season. Shreveport is in unfamiliar territory, as they have never missed the playoffs. Their worst finish was 4th back in 2019-20 when COVID canceled the season, as it's kicked along back down to the hash marks. Played out by the Jacks and sent deep by Mansfield. About halfway into this hockey game of the opening period. Played back up to the blue line, kept alive. And Johnson was able to hold it momentarily, but it's played out by Shreveport right in front of their bench. And cleared right back the other way by Odessa. Shreveport from the far right corner. Haru played it right back. And almost a costly turnover against Shreveport. Odessa unable to come up with that loose puck. Brimmer, the leading scorer for the Mudbugs. Could not make most of it. Hughes over. With it is Yates. Yates tries to send it out in front to the slot. Broken up. Puck was picked up by Shreveport and over to the near side boards. Heidi was able to get it over back on the Howlard. Now to Gato. Connor Gato, the goal scorer. The only one so far of this game. Simpson will just drape it into the near side corner. Under 9 to play here in period number 1. Again, thank you for tuning in on the YouTube channel for this audio-only coverage of Odessa Jackalopes hockey as they go toe-to-toe with a team right in the rearview mirror, the Shreveport Mudbugs. Potentially the biggest weekend series of the regular season for these two squads. For the Jacks, 4 points on the line. For Shreveport, 6, as they have a 3-3 series this weekend, with that final game being on Sunday. It's a makeup game against New Mexico. Sent to the right circle, they fire, and a save is made by Proctor. With 8:18 remaining here in the opening period. Was an offensive zone draw for Shreveport. The Jacks won it. And they sent it along that far side boards right in front of the benches. Dug back to the defense, and it's tipped past the red line, so icing is waved off against Odessa. Devorny sends it across. Top of the right point, they fire one. Back over to Devorny. It bounces, but out to the neutral zone. So the Jacks have to regroup and tag back up. As the Mudbugs send it over to that far side. Right in front of their bench, they battle for it. Kelly's looking on. Alongside him is Jacob Onsot. Actually, it's number 9, Logan Gotinsky. As it goes right back over to Davis Gonkler. And the Jacks break it up. Duclair on a breakaway, all alone with Bobak. He shoots, and it's blocked aside by Bobak. Duclair was almost on the verge of tying this game up, and not only that, but the leading scorer for the Jacks was looking for his 5th shorthanded goal. And they say an icing is called against Odessa, so puck will be brought back into their own zone with 6:50 remaining here in the opening period. The last time these two teams met on that Thanksgiving weekend, November 26th, the Jacks had 2 shorthanded goals against Shreveport, and then the following night duplicated that with scoring another 2 shorthanded goals. And another icing against the Jacks. They have a total of 9 shorthanded goals for, again, 4 coming against this Shreveport Mudbugs team. Draw to the block or to the glove hand of Proctor. Jacks back it over to the near side boards. Hallard across. And Heidi will send it below the goal line. Passed along to Duclair. He was unable to grab a hold of it. Gato battles with Duclair along the half glass on the near side. 6:10 remaining out in front. They send it, and it's blocked aside by Proctor off his right leg pad. Gockler back at, or Gato, I should say. Hallard tried to play it down low. It was broken up by the Jacks as Odessa's in the middle of some changes. Shreveport makes 1 or 2 as well on the fly as Hallard will gain the red line and fire it deep. Whipped around the yellow trim over to the far side for Odessa as they play it out. Now Mansfield with it. Mansfield from the left circle. They fire, shoot, rebound, and they couldn't put it home. Somehow Bobak was able to get his left pad on that and denied the Jacks another scoring opportunity. 5:30 left to go. Odessa enters enemy territory and fires it around the horseshoe over to the far side. 1 for 2 is Shreveport on the power play, as they scored quickly into their second one off the stick of Gato. And now the Jacks come away with it. They exit from their own zone. Wojciechowski leaves it on back. Him and Bejier tried the play catch as they cough it up to Shreveport. Mudbugs having trouble with it below their own goal line as Jacks applying the forecheck with under 5 to play here in the first. Shreveport does collect it and play it out to the red line, and actually they muscle it deep into the Jack zone. 4:40 left to go here in the opening period, as there's only been one goal that was scored, which was a power play goal off the stick of Connor Gato from the Shreveport Mudbugs, as that one's nice and called again against Odessa with 4:27 left to go here in the opening period. Again, thank you for tuning in to the Jacks YouTube live channel. Calling this game remotely from the Ector County Coliseum. There's a lot going on, of course, around the area here. As you have the OC Rodeo. There's the tattoo convention going on in one of the barns in the back. And there's also the Carnival as well, or the circus, I should say, over in the parking lot throughout this weekend. So a lot of stuff going on here while the Jacks are fighting to stay alive in the playoffs, or for a playoff spot over in Shreveport, Louisiana. And they will be home for a month straight, 8 straight home games. It will start next weekend against the Amarillo Wranglers, and a lot is happening as well, as we have a Build Appreciation Night followed by a Hellebuck retirement jersey night and a quick shot by Howard, sails past Proctor. And then a shot from the top of the left point is gloved down by Proctor, and he'll eat that one up for a whistle with 3:34 remaining here in the opening period. And then, of course, we'll have Fan Appreciation Night and Senior Night on the final weekend series for the Jacks on April 1st and the 2nd. So that's just kind of the main headliners per se, but tons more coming up. And, of course, visit all the Odessa Jackalopes social media channels and their website for more information. That's where you could also find tickets as well. They play it back up top. It's blocked down in front and sent deep by Ripper. Sent right to Ahern along that near side board. It's broken up at the center ice line. And sent on back to Heidi. Now over to Hallard. Near side. 5-2 play catch. Hallard enters. Near side. Sedlicek having trouble battling 2 Jackalopes down low. Back up top to Hallard. He fires one. Rebound sitting loose. And they get the whistle as it's caught between the leg pads of Alex Proctor with under 3 minutes left to go here in period number 1. Mudbugs still up 1-0 here from the George's Pond Hirsch Coliseum. Puck bounces back out to the neutral zone. Duclair within, almost had a shorthanded goal earlier. He tries to spin it on over. He'll drape it back over to the left corner. Hoyer. Play it out in front. The puck is still loose. Rebounds in that left circle. And Gotinski will gather it and airmail it back out. As getting sat down was back here from Sedlicek. And it looks like a hand is raised from Siegel. Bankier was the one that went down. He got right back up, so good to see that. But he was tracking the puck in the air. They're going to call roughing against Sedlicek. And he was not aware of Sedlacek racing after him. They try to blow him up in open ice. Bankier again, good to see him back up on 2 feet right after taking that hit. Draws a penalty and gives the Jacks their second power play opportunity of the evening. They are 0 for 1. And again, both teams having some struggling parts on the power play here this regular season. Again, the Mudbugs, while they are 1 for 2, they have the second worst power play in the league entering this weekend series. As for the Jacks, they are 26 out of 29 with a success rate of 14.7% as that one goes past them. However, the Mudbugs have the 7th best penalty kill at 83.7%. Only went up maybe slightly after killing off that earlier power play by the Jacks. As we are approaching the 2-minute mark here of period number 1. The Jacks send it deep from the stick of Wojciechowski. It's whipped around. Jacks trying to set up on this power play opportunity, their second jersey Mike man advantage of the game. It's pinned up against that end wall and shoveled out by Shreveport. Off to the right side of Devin Boback. 1:30 left to go here in the first period. Shreveport on a 3-game win streak. Below the blue line, the Jacks have it. On this power play opportunity, they're still fighting for it along the half boards on the near side. 7 shots for Shreveport on their online sheet, 3 for the Jacks. But they have had a flurry of scoring opportunities that have just went wide of Devin Boback. Still fighting for it along the near side boards. 60 seconds left to go here in the opening period as they turn and fire one all the way out, 200 feet the other way. And less than 20 seconds left on the man advantage for the Jacks as they trail Shreveport 1-0. Odessa plays it near side. Off the stick of Desmond Johnson. And that one goes right past Tallene and all the way down. Tallene circles back in his own zone. As he's being pestered, he'll leave it over for Johnson on that far side corner. Time is winding down here in the opening period. Jacks trailing 1-0. Sent near side for Tallene. Tallene running out of real estate, brushes it over to that far side wall. Or it's sent over to the near side corner. And that will do it for period number 1 of 3 here from the Georges Pond Hirsch Coliseum. Shreveport will take a 1-0 lead heading into the first period intermission. Jacks had a few scoring opportunities to declare a notable one short-handed, where he was able to read the Mudbugs very well in that power play, but unfortunately was blocked by a good save from Devin Boback, and then there was a later odd-man rush for the Jacks, and they were unable to convert on that one as well. Well, a very close game so far from the Georges Pond Hirsch Coliseum over in Shreveport, Louisiana. It's a 1-goal game in game number 1 after period number 1. Stay tuned. You're listening to Odessa Jackalopes Hockey over on the Jacks YouTube Live channel. Well, welcome back into the broadcast, everybody listening over on the Jacks YouTube Live channel. Again, this is an audio-only feed for this weekend as Odessa is back onto the ice to gear up for period number 2 against the Shreveport Mudbugs, who currently have a 1-0 lead on them here in game number 1. The Jacks are 12-10-0-2 as the visiting team so far this season. And in their last 10 games, they're 4-4-0-2. Currently on a 3-game losing skid, 0-2-0-1. As for the Mudbugs, they're 12-7-1-1 as the home team. They're on a 3-game winning streak, and in their past 10 games, they have won 7 and lost 3 in regulation. But again, they are the second most penalized team going into this weekend's game at 961. As for the Jacks, they were 7th out of 8th in penalty minutes. Only fewer is the New Mexico Ice Wolves, but the Jacks have 718 prior to entering this game. They took 2 minor penalties back in that period number 1. One of them costed them as Connor Gato scored 6:06 into the first period. Power play goal assisted by Burke Simpson and Austin Brimmer. And that was off the Dane Hoyer tripping minor. And that was only 9 seconds in to that man advantage for Shreveport. It says on the score sheet that Odessa has registered 3 shots on Devin Boback, which would tie the fewest, which would make it the fewest in the first period for the Jacks this season, but would tie the second and the third for fewest shots in a period across the board. So if that doesn't get adjusted, it was a very, very low shooting period for the Jacks. They had their fair share, of course, of scoring opportunities and zone time. Unfortunately, missing a little bit wide of the net end of Boback. But again, that's why there's 3 periods in hockey. And the tables turn for period number 2 as the Jacks go left to right. They lose the opening draw to Shreveport as they go right to left. And they launch it deep. Icing is called as they were well behind that red line. As for Shreveport, they put up 12 shots on Alex Proctor with 1 finding the back of the net. Again, it was a power play goal, and 1, if you go back and look, takes a few bounces here and there, finds its way over to the left of Proctor, and it was an easy tap home for Connor Gato as he got his first goal against the Jacks this season. But he is now the leading scorer for Shreveport with 13 goals. 34 points. Steele fires 1, saved by Proctor. Jack still trying to clear after a quick transition rush the other way by Shreveport. They fire 1 from just below the blue line, fought off in the traffic in front of Proctor, and over to the far side. Right in front of the penalty boxes, and a big hit thrown there from Steele onto Johnson. Shreveport with it. They cough it up. Backhand 1 out in front. And the Jacks pick it up behind Boback, but turn it right back over. Over a minute gone here in period number 2. Kokluchev. Claire unable to pick it up between the circles of his own zone, but they are able to get it over to Purdian along the right wing wall. Purdian fires one on the open ice on that far side corner. Manzo sends it below the goal line. Gotinski sends it over. Sedlicek tries to get it around Proctor, poked away by him, by Proctor's paddle as Purdian tries to chop at it. Intercepted by Gato. Gato from the left circle, played over to the hash marks. They fire 1, and it hit the crossbar and stayed out. Proctor's best friend makes it still a 1-0 Shreveport lead. Here about 2 minutes into period number 2. Shreveport with the toe drag shot wide of Proctor. Off the stick of the leading scorer with 36 points, Austin Brimmer. 12 goals for him, 24 assists. Jacks get fresh legs onto the ice as Shreveport brings it out behind Bobak. Over to the near side wall. Unable to play it out where the Jacks. Simpson keeps it alive for Shreveport. Brimmer in after it. Now over to Gato. Backhanded one up and caught out of midair by the glove hand of Proctor. Well, Shreveport is 11-3-1 so far this season when leading after the first 20 minutes of play. And the Jacks are 4-8-1-2 when trailing after the first period. It's an offensive zone draw for Shreveport. And it's still loose just below that left circle up front, and it's flipped out by Kuhn. Gockler fires it off the near side boards. Swept around to the near side by Tallene. Back up top, they fire one. Mitchell out in front, rebounds loose, and they score. Mudbugs up 2-0, just a little over 3 minutes into the second period. And the goal scorer, I do believe, was Logan Firstenau. Number 20, Logan Firstenau. And the Jacks were off last weekend, so they haven't played since their weekend series in North Richland Hills, Texas, up against the Lone Star Brahmas, where they were swept but lost one of them in a shootout. So they still have that point streak going since the start of the season, and of course have scored a goal in every game this season too. So a lot is on the line historically for the Jacks. It's very rare for a team to be able to withstand one of them all season, let alone both of those types of records. As they're cleaning up the crawfish on the ice after the Mudbugs' second goal of the evening. Still nothing on the board for the Jacks here in game number 1 of 2. Shreveport was in action last weekend, and they swept Corpus Christi in regulation. Those games were in Corpus Christi, Texas. So right now the Mudbugs riding a wave of momentum into this weekend series. The Jacks, of course, Yates hasn't played in a little bit. Good has been out of the lineup as well due to an injury. Back up top, they fire one from Bankier. It was tipped, but stayed wide. Sent all the way back out by the Jacks. Played right in front of the benches by Shreveport as it's bouncing behind the defense. Sent over to the near side as Moore will just drape it deep in the enemy territory. Backhanded around to the near side, half wall. Played out by the Jacks. Moore turned it over. They fire. Score! Ryan Mansfield cuts the lead in half and beats Devin Bobak far side. What a snapshot after a costly turnover from Shreveport. It's now 2-1 Mudbugs. Ryan Mansfield has been a great underrated player for the Jacks so far this season. He gets his 9th of the season and point number 21 as he moves his way up further inside the top 10 in points overall. Lots of players for the Jacks tied at 27, now tied at 21 for a large majority of the Jacks. So they're able to distribute the puck very well, and again, they don't ask how many. They don't ask how much, they ask how many. And, of course, the few shots that the Jacks have, they are able to still get past Bobak as a shot from Steele in that right circle is smothered up in the breadbasket by Proctor with 15:39 left to go here in period number 2. Well, one of the streaks will live on to go see game number 48, as this is game number 47 for the Jacks and game number 45 of 60 for Shreveport, and another quick save in the glove by Proctor. And the Mudbugs will redo this offensive zone draw. That 4 o'clock game on Sunday, so 2 games in less than 24 hours for the Shreveport Mudbugs. It will be a 4 o'clock puck drop against them and currently first place New Mexico, as they're looking for their first playoff berth in their franchise's history. Have had some troubling years themselves since entering the North American Hockey League. And the Jacks have not made the playoffs in the last 3 seasons. They've been in a playoff spot since October, one of the longest among the South Division teams. Another one that can say the same, New Mexico, as that one shoveled out by Gato, back below the goal line. Jacks looking to keep this momentum alive. Hughes left on back. Perdian shot sent wide. Right back up top, Jacks keep it alive. Devorney shot high and gloved down by Bobak. With 14:17 left to go here in the second period, Jacks trail Shreveport 2-1. Shreveport wins it from their own zone. It is a 2-1 game thanks to Ryan Mansfield. After Shreveport gift-wrapped him a frozen rubber of that loose puck that they kind of just handed right to him, and he said thank you very much and deposited it right in the back of the net past Bobak. The shots currently read 16-6 in favor of the Shreveport Mudbugs. So Odessa is 1 for 6 according to their stats, and the Mudbugs are 2 for 16. And I might have caught that post as well, and in Mansfield again, a hidden gem that the Jacks have had so far this season. Played for the Toronto Patriots of the OJHL last in 2019-2020. 50 games played, 10 goals, 22 assists. He was a plus-minus of 32 in those 50 games played. But again, from Burlington, Ontario, Canada, he's only 18 years old. His first season in the NHL, already a 21-point goal scorer. Or 9 goals, I should say, for him, but 21 points total. And now over to Duclair. Duclair turns on the Jets, fires one, and paddled aside by Bobak. Actually, that was Bezier. I do want to apologize about that. It's a little hard to see doing it remotely sometimes with the feed, as again, I'm just seeing it from the Hockey TV perspective, and I have Chet Yoder on my right ear. As I try to keep pace with, of course, his vocabulary and his cadence, as Corpus Christi had a little bit of an easier remote setup, as they had a few different camera angles that were a little bit tighter to see from, and a shot from the top of the right circle. Blocked aside by Proctor. They'll send it on back to the defense. Kuwait just patiently waits, one of the assistant captains for the Jacks this season. As Ahern tipped it. Bobak came out the plate, near side. Mudbugs come out with it. Gato plays it into the near side corner. Heide will drop it deep. Brimmer skating with it, and he'll just drape it on back below the goal line. Over to Sedlicek. Sedlicek pinned up against that far side boards. As him and a Jackalope go down. Over to Heide, and his shot hit a body in front as a few players collide in Proctor's crease. The net was dislodged as Manzo and Sedlicek got tangled up with one another. I don't think anything's going to come of it, as there was an accidental collision, as everybody appears to just skate away on their own terms. With 11:57 left to go here in the second period, it is 2-1 Shreveport here in game number 1 of 2 this weekend. But game number 1 of 3 for the Mudbugs, as again they were playing a 3-3 series that will wrap up on Sunday at 4 o'clock with the New Mexico Ice Wolves. As they tried to send it out, Mudbugs collected and fire one right into the chest of Proctor from the far side circle. Well, we will get a media timeout here from the Georges Pond Hirsch Coliseum with 11:49 left to go in period number 2. Offensive zone draw coming up to the left side of Proctor, our right. A shot out in front. Puck is loose. It's somewhere in the crease. There's a lot of mayhem. And I mean, just now hearing a whistle. From my vantage point, couldn't quite see where that loose puck was at, as there was approximately 8 or 9 players all around that blue paint, including Proctor. But no goal was signaled from referee Ryan Siegel, as teams are making changes on both sides. with it along the near side of Shreveport. Mudbugs with it on that far side wall. Off to the left side of Proctor. Played up and out by the Jacks. They fire one from Bankier that shrugged up high by Boback, and he's able to gather it for the whistle. Looked like it caught him by surprise up on that right shoulder of his. And some more changes as well come from both sides, as we're about 9 minutes into this second period. So far, a goal from both sides in this middle frame. One off the stick of Verstenau, and then the lone goal scorer for Odessa, Ryan Mansfield. That one's punched to the wall by Boback. Jacks try to come away with it. Brimmer almost gathers it. Mudbugs do possess it on that far side. And they will just slide that one all the way down into the Jack zone, off to the left-hand side of Proctor. Yates unable to pick up a pass from Hughes. And a pass out in front. Over to the near side corner. Good back after it. Now near side for Yates. Yates sends a dribble over to the far side. They turn and fire one. But it was intercepted by the Mudbugs, as the Jacks are in the midst of a change right now. Simpson will flutter one down over to Proctor, who will set it down. And it's fired off the glass. Offside were Odessa. They tag back up. Agier applying pressure as he races to it on the far side. Cockler flings it back out to the neutral zone. And now giving chase again. This time is Kusler. Cockler sends it back out between the circles. It's loose. Jack's almost able to pick it up. And however, it goes right to the stick of a Mudbug player. Under 9:30 left to go here in period number 2. Jack's trying to keep up the pressure. That one's out in front. They score! It took a ricochet up and over the body of Devin Boback. And if it gets credited to Mansfield, I don't think it touched another Jackalope player, but it handcuffed him, and it's a 2-2 hockey game here with 9:17 left to go in period number 2. Could be Ryan Mansfield's second of the evening, both in this middle period. And just like that, it's a brand new hockey game. The Jacks right back in it. Again, fighting to maintain a playoff spot right now. We are in the month of March. Everybody will wrap up playing around April 16th. At least that will be the Jacks' final game in New Mexico. And it goes to Ryan Mansfield again, unassisted for him. He now has double-digit goals in his rookie season here in the NAHL. On that far side left wing wall, Jacks playing out of their own zone. They send it back up top as Bankier fans on a pass down low, as I think he was trying to get it over to Ahern. Mudbugs send it back the other way, 200 feet. Ahern will pick it up along the yellow trim behind Proctor. Jacks have had 2 hat tricks this season. As a big save out in front by Proctor. Sent over the green, over to the far side, and a shot it off the outside of the net. Back to the right circle. That one is saved by Proctor, and the rebound's loose. Back out to the left circle. It's played. And somehow the Jacks are able to dig that one out. Scrambling a lot between the pipes over the last 30 seconds or so was Proctor, but he got some great defensive help as well. And a screen sends the puck over to the far side. Now pressure is coming from Shreveport. And Jacks are able to pick it up and flip it out. As again, you are furthest away from your benches in the second period, so they are able to get some fresh legs out. Gato leaves it back for Brimmer. He fires one into the breadbasket of Proctor, and he covers it up for a whistle. As he's a little stung up on the play, too, as he is slowly making his way back to two skates. Jacks win it. Unable to clear. Mudbugs fire one, saved by Proctor. As it will slide all the way back out past the red line. Jacks have it. Left circle out in front. Duclair tried to play it. And the Jacks were unable to get a hold of it between the hash marks. Duclair once again. As he'll shovel it deep. Simpson with it. Sends it across to the right side. Brimmer. His shot will go up and out of play with 6:50 left to go here in period number 2. And it's a 2-2 score here from Georgia's Pinehurst Coliseum. Offensive zone draw for Shreveport, far side circle. Sent back up to the blue line. They keep it alive by playing it into the left corner. Banked off the end boards over to the far side now. They try to maneuver their way back out in front. It's played right there on the doorstep. And they score off the stick of Logan Firstenau. With his second of the evening, back-to-back goals for him, just like Ryan Mansfield has done, and it is now a 3-2 Shreveport lead. There has been a lot of funky bounces so far in this hockey game. Saw a few back in the first period, but we're seeing a little bit more in the second period. And you could kind of tell that one caught not only Proctor, but a few Jackalopes by surprise, and in prime positioning for it was Logan Firstenau from St. Clair, Michigan, as he got his second of the night and put his team back up by 1 with just about 6:30 remaining here in period number 2. And so far, this has been a very close game between some South Division rivals. Again, the Jacks have been in the league a lot longer than the Mudbugs, but Shreveport has won 2 Robertson Cup championships. In both of those seasons, they finished the regular season in first place. Right now, they sit in 5th. But only 4 teams can make it. As Jacks retrieve it, fire one. from Bezier, and it's a right pad save from Boback. Jacks are able to tag back up, and they race back after it as it's sent from far to near in Shreveport zone. First and out. Drapes it down below the goal line. He's one away from a hat trick. Both of the hat tricks for the Jacks this season have come off the stick of Dane Hoyer, and both were against Corpus Christi. On stunt. Sends it from low to high. Over near side to Heidi as that one stayed wide as he was trying to get a redirect in front. Mudbugs still have it. They'll spin on back to the left corner of the Jack zone as we have a halt to play just out of frame here on Hockey TV. 5:36 left to go in the second period. Jacks win it from their own zone. Play it forward. Kelly pinned up against that half glass on the far side. He'll lose the board battle to Shreveport. As Volkema trying to send it over. Icing is called. Offensive zone draw coming up for the Jacks. Time is winding down here in the second period. Only 5:17 remains in it. And the Jacks have battled back to tie it at one point, and then shortly after, it was the goal scorer first and out for his second of the evening back-to-back. For him, they tipped one just past Boback. They tried to play it off the cage and back out in front. It will sit off to the right-hand side, and he'll wrap around the post to cover it up. So the Jacks with another offensive zone draw opportunity. On that far side, circle to the blocker side of Boback. Again, it's 0-2-1 against the Jacks so far this season. Proctor is 4-0 against Shreveport this season. Puck is launched into some bodies in front. It deflects over to the near side. Godtinski fires one, hit a body in front. It bounces out in front of Sprawling, saved by Proctor. And he leans back to glove it out of midair as the Mudbugs were trying to replicate a ricochet of their own past Proctor, and he denies them to keep it within one goal. Shots right now read 21 for Shreveport and 10 for the Jacks. So Odessa is so far 2 for 10 on Boback, and the Mudbugs are 3 for 21 on Proctor. Shreveport sends it on back to the top of the right point. They fire one. Sent to the wall by Proctor. Back up top they play, and then mishandling it were the Mudbugs. Duclair with it fires one, saved by Boback, and he wipes out below the goal line. Hand is raised by Siegel. And a penalty is called against Shreveport, allowing the Jacks to go on their third power play opportunity of the game. They're 0 for 2 so far. Heidi is the guilty party, and holding is the call from referee Ryan Siegel. Jacks trail 3-2 here in game number 1. The opportunity to tie things up again for the second time this evening. And try to finish out this second period on a strong note after a 1-point scoring 2 unanswered. Back over to this left circle, they fire one. Karams over to the near side, they'll drape it below the goal line. And it's sent on back by Shreveport out to the red line. As Bankier will bring it out. Claire unable to possess it as Shreveport will fire it out from their own zone. Again, the Mudbugs, a top 10, on the verge of being a top 5 penalty killing unit in the league. They entered this game at 7th. They've killed off the last 2 power plays for the Jacks. As Devorney will fire it into enemy territory. Sent back up to the top of the left point by Shreveport. Now down low as they try a quick pass back to the blue line. That's picked off by Volkema. 3:25 remaining here in the second period. Jacks on the power play as they are facing a 3-2 deficit against Shreveport here in game number 1. Played back out in front. Boback had some miscommunication with some fellow teammates, and it was almost another gracious turnover for the Jacks. They were unable to grab a hold of it as it was cleared on back by the Mudbugs. Dropped on back as Odessa looks to play it forward. Begier sends it into the near side corner, over to the far side, and it will twist it on back up to the top of the left point. Unable to hold on to it was the defense. Simpson 1-on-1 with Proctor, and he scores. .2:15 left to go. A short-handed goal for the Mudbugs. They now have a power play goal and a short-handed goal. They have 22 power play goals this season, including the one today. And they have a total of now just 3 shorthand goals for. They caught that defenseman or the Jacks player over on that top of the left point right in front of their bench. A bouncing puck. Had trouble playing it and going the other way all alone on Proctor was number 14, Burke Simpson, and he gets his first registered point against the Jacks so far this season in his first game against them as well. I should say, actually, no, his fourth game against them, his first registered point. Shreveport back up by 2. Simpson gets his 9th of the season. This is, again, possibly the most important weekend series for both teams, as not only, of course, the Jacks and Shreveport in action today and tomorrow. Brimmer with it, waits, plays it back out in front from behind the goal line. And Simpson again at the top of the crease as they thread the needle between Proctor and the near side post. Simpson with the second. As First and now has 2, and now it is Simpson. And that's an even strength goal for him. Wait to see if it's officially ruled to Simpson. I'm hearing Chet Yoder say it might have been Gato, and they do give it to Burke Simpson. Actually, it has not been put up quite yet on the stat sheet, and they do. Even strength goal for him is, again, back-to-back for him, following a fellow teammate that went back-to-back for first to now. And now the Jacks face their largest deficit of the game. It is 5-2 Shreveport. 2:05 left to go. A flurry of goals here in this middle frame. It started 1-0, and it currently sits 5-2 Mudbugs. And the Mudbugs are the defending Robertson Cup champions. They have won 2 of the last 3 Robbie Cups. If the Mudbugs win all 3 games of this weekend series for them, that's going to be a penalty against the Jacks, as there's a little extracurricular going on afterwards. So this will be a power play opportunity for Shreveport. Ahern the guilty party, and the Mudbugs are already 1 for 2 on the man advantage. But if the Mudbugs win all 3 games of their 3-3 series, that will earn them 6 points and give them 55. Again, the Jacks are at 53. They at least need to win 1 of these 2 games, as Brimmer keeps it alive at the top of the left point on the near side. Jacks again almost had a shorthanded tally back in period number 1. That one they tried to tip out in front. It's gloved back by the Jacks, kept alive by Brimmer, as he'll lace it into the right corner. And it's cleared out by the Jacks with 1:05 left to go in the second. And almost a costly turnover for Shreveport, as it was a right pad save from Boback off the stick of J.R. Perdian. And 9 shorthanded goals this season for Odessa. 4 have been against the Shreveport squad. And we have seen 6 goals so far here in the second period. 4 off of Mudbug sticks. And while there were 4 goals, there's only 2 goal scorers. Duclair has to wait as his team's catching back up with him from behind. Short-handed again. They look for a tip out in front. Duclair did tip it, but over to the far side. Koklachev fires one from that far side circle, and it went wide of Proctor. And all the way down it goes into the Shreveport zone, and that does it for period number 2. As 40 minutes have come and gone here from the Georges Pond Hirsch Coliseum. Mudbugs will take a 5-2 lead heading into the second period intermission after scoring four goals in period number 2. As for the Jacks, they do get on the board, and they keep that goal streak alive. As thanks to a 2-goal night for Ryan Mansfield. But special teams again kind of plaguing the Jacks right now, as they have given up a power play goal and a shorthanded goal, and they are currently 0 for 3 on the man advantage. And those are things that, of course, are going to be crucial in a playoff scenario. Something that they are trying to do for the first time in 3 years is get that X next to their name and go beyond the regular season. And it's really going to be a test throughout this final period of regulation, but also tomorrow. Again, splitting the weekend series is not the worst outcome. That would be, of course, getting swept in regulation with no points to go home with. as they've gotten a point at least in every weekend series this season. Again, one of the only teams to say they are able to do that in the NAHL, let alone the South Division. And they will continue the goal streak, of course, into tomorrow, into game number 48. This is game number 47 of 60. So, still, I mean, going into this game, they potentially could have picked up 28 points. As for Shreveport, again, going into this game, they had only played 44. So, they have, of course, a lot more points to pick up, but they could both have finished with 81 points if they were able to not face one another again. But, of course, they have this weekend matchup and still one more to kick off the first weekend of April, on April 1st and the 2nd, back at the Ector County Coliseum. The Jacks are back at the Jack Shack next weekend for their final home stand. It will be 8 straight games, starting off against Amarillo, then a weekend series with Wichita, then going and playing New Mexico, and then they will host the Shreveport Mudbugs to finish out that last home stand. Again, a lot of action. Hellbuck retirement jersey night. We'll have a Billet Appreciation night, UTBB night, and of course wrap things up with senior night, a dedication to those that will be ending their junior career, the age outs, at the end of this year, the 01 born birth years. And then the Jacks will travel for 2 weekends as they wrap up the 2021-22 season on the road against the Wranglers and the Ice Wolves. Again, who knows what the standings look like by then? It could come down to the wire. But, of course, these games are very important to start this month on a good note. Of course, the Mudbugs won a 3-game winning streak right now, swept Corpus Christi last weekend, and the Jacks did not play last weekend and are on a 3-game losing skid right now, 0-2, 0-1 for them. Well, only 20 minutes left in regulation here in game number 1. Jacks in a hole right now, down by 3. The score is 5-2 after 40 minutes of play. Thanks for tuning in so far. 2 periods in the books here on the Jacks YouTube Live channel. Stay tuned. You're watching Odessa Jackalopes Hockey. Welcome back into the broadcast, everybody listening over on the Jacks YouTube channel, as Odessa is now on the ice here for period number 3, as they trail the Mudbugs by a score of 5-2. Before entering this game, in the last 3 contests for the Mudbugs, which includes 2 against Corpus Christi and then 1 against Wichita Falls, their current 3-game win streak, they had 15 goals and 6 goals against. So they were averaging 5 goals a game. And this is for a team that has the 3rd fewest amount of goals in the South Division with 118 prior to this game. Well, they keep that 5 goals a game average, as now they have 5 up on the board here with still 20 minutes left in regulation. And again, over the last 25 games, Boback has played in 21, so now 22 of the last 26 for the Ohio native, as he is receiving a lot of ice time in the Mudbugs jersey. And Shreveport is 16-1, 1-2, when leading after period number 2. As for the Jacks, they're 4-15-1 when trailing after 40 minutes of play. As we gear up for the final 20 minutes here from the Georges Pond Hirsch Coliseum. It is still a power play opportunity for the Mudbugs, as they drop in and win the first faceoff of period number 3. Over on back to Gato, to the far side. Power play goal so far and a shorthanded tally for the Mudbugs so far in this game. Played back up to the blue line, kept alive by Simpson. Or the Heidi, I should say. Back over to Simpson, now to the top of the left point. Brimmer. Across now near side to Volkma. Down low to Simpson. He has 2 goals that were back in period number 2. As does first and out, off to the left side of Proctor. Sent back up top. Penalty expires as Gato was trying to tip it. It sailed over into the right corner. Jacks trail by 3. At one point, this was a 2-2 game. Since then, it's 3 unanswered by Shreveport as Ahern collides with Gockler. As it's played behind Boback. Shreveport comes out with it. Plays it near side, right wing wall. Volkema was stuffed at the Jacks blue line, and he was able to regroup with it and shovel it deep. Over to the right side, they send it all the way over to the near side. Put some room by Hoyer, and it blocked out in front and tried to bat it out of midair. Could not. Hoyer turns and fires one. It's picked up at the top of the crease by Boback momentarily and somehow stayed out. Boback thought he was going to get a whistle, did not get one from referee Ryan Siegel, as it's sent back to the defense for Shreveport. Gockler will gain the red line and flip it into the near side corner. Backhanded over to the defense as the Jacks play it north. Over to Good, left wing wall. Good sails it into the corner behind Boback's left glove hand. And Shreveport comes out with it. A lot of back and forth so far here in this 3rd period. That's over 2 minutes gone. Played back up to the blue line, held in by Shreveport and fired just wide of Proctor. Back up top, they send it. Shreveport shot and hit a by Nickel. Good gives chase. Hallard with it. They'll leave it in that left corner along the near side wall. 17-10 left to go here in the 3rd. Jacks pass it forward. Are unable to send it across. Kusler lost a handle on it as he was deep into enemy territory. Kusler back after it far side. They send it dangerously out in front of Boback. They turn it over behind his net. And it bounces over to the far side. Swept up top. Played over to Devorny. Backhands it deep into Mudbugs territory over to the left corner. Shreveport has it. Far side, they play it. They tried the near side as it was sticked away momentarily as it's lobbed out. Bankier will just bank it off the bench boards. All the way down into the Mudbugs territory. 16:20 left to go here in the third period. Not too many whistles so far in this final period of regulation as the Jacks trailed to start this period in shots 31-16. And the Mudbugs were ranked 28th out of 29th across the NAHL in shots for per game at 28.55. But the Jacks were averaging the 23rd most shots against at 34.72. So Mudbugs above their average, and the Jacks trying to hold them to as little as possible here in this final period of regulation. As it's pinned up against the end boards, directly behind Bobak's net. One loose by Gockler. Will pivot once or twice on that far side corner. And sent right back to Gockler. Handling with it and playing it up the near side boards was Tim Koklachev, the AIC commit, and the shot whistles wide. It was offside against Shreveport, so they have to regroup from their own zone. A quick look around the NAHL. It is a 4-4 score in the third period between the Warriors and the Ice Rays. As they're going to call a hand pass on this near side boards. As we have one of the first halt to plays here in the third period. 14:40 left to go. Here in regulation, Shreveport still up 5-2. Lone Star is up 3-1 at the start of the third period against New Mexico. And the Wranglers are up 1-0 over the Rhinos to start period number 2. So for the Jacks, most likely won't be able to catch first or second place. Of course, you want to be able to win the division, but right now the main goal is clinching playoffs, and from there, of course, you can always move your way up until you hit game number 60. As you have to set little stepping stones for yourselves, of course, after brand new head coach and assistant coach. And a lot of new players as well. Roughly only 5 players aging out. Gato with it. And he collides with a teammate. So a big rookie class here for the Jacks. 2 players going to Ferris State University. Trevor Tallene and Emerson Good. One going to RIT. Chris Duclair. And the captain, Frank Tavorni, going to Michigan Tech University. And most likely more to come for the age-outs as well, like Alex Proctor, who's between the pipes so far. 18 wins for him. He's tied for the second most wins in a Jackalopes jersey in one season. The most is held by Connor Hellebuck at 26. And that was the first Jackalope season. Again, now he's in the NHL with the Winnipeg Jets. And he will have his jersey retired. A turnover out in front of the left kick saved by Proctor. He received some of the most minutes and, of course, the most shots against with all those minutes logged as the Jacks go in offside with 13-17 left to go here in the third period. But all those shots and all those minutes logged between the pipes, of course, gives you a lot of veteran experience as, again, this is his final year of junior eligibility. So he will be a big face across the Jackalopes history once he exits. Of course, what he has done for this team, approaching that sole possession of second in wins. He had a tremendous 2021. It's been a little bit quiet here in 2022, but also injuries have kind of hurt the Jags as they lost some key defensive players and offensive players as well, as they're still without Boak is scratched, and they have O'Hare who's been out for a while. They had lost William Marshall since back in 2021, and Desmond Johnson also just coming back off an injury as well. So there's been some other teams that have got hit with the injury bug and also illness bug, so it can't always have that as a crutch as everybody has to battle through it, and that's why you usually have a roster of about 24, 25 men. Played back out in front, a slap shot, and that one will tip over to the near side boards. Played out by the Jacks. Birding with it. Sends it across to some open ice for Duclair. Played back up top. Now near side for Devorny. Fires one intentionally wide, looking for a rebound. They send it down low, tried to play it out in front. And two Jackalopes topple over one another in the far side corner. Nothing comes of it. Odessa still trying to keep it alive. Mudbugs muscle it out. And Gotinski's the lone man in. Proctor sends it over to the far side. 11:45 left to go here in the third. Left circle, toe drag move, shot, save by Proctor. And there's a down Jackalope player. Try to see what happened there. As we have a media timeout. Just about 11:33 left to go. And I think it was Bankier that got slashed. Maybe right around the midsection. Right in front of the ref by Firstenau. If I can get it. I think it was Bankier. It's kind of hard to tell from this vantage point on Hockey TV. And they are going to call it on him. Good vision by Ryan Siegel. It happened right in front of him. Firstenau wasn't trying to hide it. 5 skaters out in black and red. That's the 4th power play for the Jacks. One that can surely give them a lot of confidence and momentum throughout the rest of this third period. If they are able to score on this, they are currently 0 for 3. As they set up with it on this Jersey Mike power play. Over to the half wall on the near side. Bounces back up top by Wojciechowski. Wojciechowski back with it. Near side now. Top of the left circle. They try to throw it out in front. It's tipped and stayed out wide as it's cleared by Shreveport. Boback got his left pad on it. As they also readjust the net opposite of Proctor. And it looks like we have an offside call against the Jacks on their attempted zone entry. 10:53 left to go here in the third. The Jacks a power play opportunity. They're trying to pull within 2. It's been 3 unanswered for Shreveport. Again, it was a 2-2 game. Following the second goal of the night by Ryan Mansfield. Jacks have it at the near side half wall. Fighting for it are the Mudbugs. They also dig it out, but as soon as they touch it, the whistle was blown, and it looks like it's going to be a high stick. And a guilty party on Simpson. The Jacks on a 5-on-3 power play opportunity. And this is a huge opportunity for the Jacks as a timeout's taken by Shreveport, but it still will also allow the Jacks head coach Scott Dewar to talk things over with his group alongside him, assistant coach Chris Francis, as they try to draw up some design plays here for this power play that has been struggling more so in 2022 than in 2021. Again, it's kind of a tale of two sides for this regular season for the Jacks. They were on fire back in 2021, really kind of making their way throughout the South Division. At one point were the first team to 10 wins and were up at the top for a little bit, and after a big surgence from New Mexico, they took over first place, and the Ice Wolves haven't really looked back. They are, however, playing second place Lone Star right now, and we're trailing the Brahmas, so that is a big weekend matchup between two of the top teams in the South Division. But right now, the Wichita Falls Warriors still tied with the Ice Rays 4-4. For the Jacks' purposes, it's kind of a coin toss who you would want to win that game. I look at it more so you would want the Warriors to win because right now they are currently already in a playoff spot. You don't want Corpus to get closer. But of course, you want to be able to maybe jump Wichita Falls and get third place, but then you might end up playing Lone Star, who the Jacks have only won once against this season, and a turnover played all the way out over the glass by Shreveport. And everybody is okay. It's a 5-on-3 power play opportunity after the puck was just sent up and over the glass. Played from high to low. Back over. They fire one, and a puck is tipped over to the near side boards. Played back up to the blue line. Duclair sends it over. Duclair back with it. Stake handles, sends it down low. Back up top. Great puck movement by the Jacks. They get it back. Right circle. Off the rebound, and it goes wide. And the net, I think, comes off its pegs, and it does, with 10:03 left to go here in period number 3. A lot on the line for not only this game, but tomorrow. Again, worst comes to worst, you win one and lose one, and you at least get the 2 points and get your 25th win of the season. But for Shreveport's sake, of course, this is game number 45 for them. They will kind of catch up a little bit by playing that Sunday game. And I think this will be a timeout from Odessa now, as we're just about halfway in to the third period. Again, Jacks trail 5-2 to the 5th place Shreveport Mudbugs. A win here won't knock out the Jacks from a playoff spot, and neither would a win with the Warriors over the Ice Rays in any fashion, but it will, of course, make the race for a playoff spot that much closer, and each game, meaning way more, is on the line than it was a few weeks ago. Again, a win here for the Mudbugs would put them at 41 points, and unless the Jacks are able to score 3 straight in the next 10 minutes and 4 seconds and at least tie it, if they don't pick up a point and the Warriors do, the Jacks will hold sole possession of 4th place and only will be 2 points ahead of Shreveport. Again, Mudbugs with that Sunday game at 4 o'clock against New Mexico, and the Mudbugs clear it all the way down. This is a 5-on-3 power play for Odessa, an opportunity to maybe score on both of them, as one of them only has 15 seconds left in it. Jacks have it below the goal line, played out in front. It bounces back out to the neutral zone off of the stick of a Mudbug player. First and now out of the box. Long stretch pass from Duclair. 5-on-4 power play now for the Jacks. They're 0 for 4 so far. Out in the right circle, over to Duclair. He doesn't pull the trigger. They fire one from above the right circle this time. And Boback comes up strong with a save as Ahern was right in his grill looking for the loose puck. 9:21 left to go here in the third period. 36 seconds left to go on the 5-on-4 power play. Off to the left side of Devin Boback, who's looking for his 19th win this season. Jacks get it on that far side. Played back up top. Near side, left circle. Back to the point. Dvorny waits. Kusler fires one right into his shin pad from Green. Sent around to the far side. Sedlicek is able to clear it back out the other way into the Jack zone. And that will most likely do it for that 5-on-4 as there's less than 10 seconds left on it. Maybe one last rush opportunity, and the Jacks unable to make much of that as it's cleared back out by Shreveport. So Jacks unsuccessful now on 5 power play opportunities. Again, a power play that is 26 out of 29th in the NAHL. Those power play opportunities, again, are going to be difference makers for teams in playoff games. Gato sends it down low to Brimmer. Brimmer is stretch pass across, is now picked up by Haru, as that one's tipped high and wide. 8:10 left to go here in the third and final period from game number 1. Back over to Haru. Proctor flings it around. Back up top. It's kept alive by Shreveport. And he was stripped of the puck. And Hughes was intercepted by Haller. Now Koklichev with it. Koklichev waits. Doesn't pull the trigger. He's with it far side. It stretches it across. As Haller has to go back out to the neutral zone to pick it up. Mudbugs bring it out through their logo. Gotinski looks for a dumping chase. Could not get to it. However, he's back after it along the near side boards. As I think that's him and Hughes. I can't get that number from Hockey TV's perspective. But they are battling just on the outside of this board battle. A lot of cross checks and pushing and shoving. I think it is Hughes. Hughes and Gotinski were the ones going after one another. Again, this is game number 5 of 8 between these two teams, and a good dangle by Good, but he ran out of real estate and momentum, as now Shreveport will bring it out the other way. Game number 6 will be tomorrow at 7:11 p.m. And games number 7 and 8 will be at the Ector County Coliseum on April 1st and the 2nd at 7:15 p.m. Just 6:15 left to go here in the final period of regulation. Jacks trail 5-2. Still no goals have been scored here in this final period. Mitchell spins around Bobak's net. He'll shovel it back out to the neutral zone right in front of his bench, and getting hit up high was Manzo from Onstock. And he gets right back up to 2 feet and pursues the puck below the goal line. 5:35 left to go here in the third. Sent back out to the center ice by Shreveport. Mudbugs have it. Far side. Sedlicek pinned up against the boards. Send it out to the circles, and Koklichev fires it past Proctor for the 6th Shreveport goal of the evening. Koklichev now has 2 goals this season against Odessa, and it is a 6-2 affair here at Georges Pond Hirsch Coliseum. Most goals Shreveport has scored in a game was 7 against Corpus Christi just last week, February 25th. They now have 21 goals, including this game, in their last 4 games, as they are 5-16 away from going on a 4-game win streak. And Wojciechowski's in the box. There was a penalty after Koklichev's goal. It is the only goal so far of this third period, and now the Mudbugs are on the man advantage. 5:16 left to go. Mudbugs are 1 for 3 so far on the man advantage. As Proctor comes out to play it. Sends it around the glass on the far side. Shots are 34-20 in favor of the Mudbugs. Only 3 shots put up on the board this period for Shreveport. And they have gotten 1 past Proctor. A good breakup by the Jacks as the puck is now rolled back into the Mudbugs territory. Played out in front, and that one stays wide. Fought off by Proctor. Gato with it. He had the first goal, and that one sails up and over the net of Proctor, hits the end glass. Gato had the first goal in the first period, the only goal, as that one's kicked aside by Proctor and almost batted out of midair, but right back to him. He'll cover it up. It's a 6-2 Shreveport lead here from Shreveport, Louisiana. Power play going, a shorthanded goal for Shreveport. And they've had 2 different players score a multi-goal game. First to now and Simpson. Not sure if it's the Jacks having last week off, if maybe they're just a little bit out of sorts, and that can kind of do it. And with some teams, of course, we saw that with Corpus Christi in that Game 1 matchup when the Jacks put up 7 when the Ice Rays were last year for that weekend series at the Ector County Coliseum. And then the Ice Rays won game number 2, and that was because they had a tough time getting here with the weather and were not able to skate that day either due to the travel. The Jacks certainly caught them at a good time, but were unable to get that weekend sweep as it slapped towards Proctor, but that was a shot after the whistle that will garner some conversations on that far side corner with 3:27 left to go here in period number 3. Both teams have already taken their timeouts, and it looks like they might be sending one for each side. As Volkema and Tallene were escorted to the penalty boxes. Again, one of the tough things about this arena that the Mudbugs play in is that the Jacks have to walk along the concourse back to the locker room. It's one of the funky ways to get to and from the ice. They actually have to enter through the penalty box doors, their own penalty box doors, so it's a weird way. Not often you see that in hockey arenas, even the NHL level, but again, this arena has been around for quite some time. They used to have a CHL team there, as did the Odessa Jackalopes. So a lot of history, throughout this South Division that stems also from the CHL days, and you have even coaches like Dan Walfong, who used to play for Shreveport, has his name up in the rafters here at the Georges Pond Hirsch Coliseum. And this is actually the building that Elvis Presley left in. So it has a lot of history there, and the Mudbugs looking to add to it. They've added 2 Robertson Cup championships to their belt. They've never missed the playoffs in their very short NAHL career. Dates back to 2016-17. Knifed over to the far side corner. 3 minutes left to go here in the third. Jacks certainly just looking for any sort of building blocks to go into game number 2 tomorrow with, as And it looks like this one might be out of their grasp as they trail by 4. Hoyer with it. He's upended. Never gets a shot off. And we'll see if it's a penalty shot. Tripping is the call. And it's going to be against Green. Again, Shreveport with the second most penalty minutes entering this game at 961. The Jacks had the second fewest going into this game in the South with 718. They've never had a season with less than 1,000 penalty minutes. But the Jacks are on the man advantage for the 6th time this evening. They are 0 for 5. And again, if they are able to get back to where they were in 2021 with this power play, it could be dangerous. They had a few showcasing power plays already this evening where they were able to move the puck tremendously well. Unfortunately, we're not able to beat Bo back on a few of those scoring opportunities. As they send it out in front and tipped right towards Boback, but he comes up with another registered save with 2:20 left to go in period number 3. Played over to the far side as the Jacks chase after it here with 2 minutes left to go in the third. 4 unanswered goals by Shreveport. 36 shots on the board for the Mudbugs, 20 for the Jacks. 3 shots in the first period for Odessa, only 4 so far in the second period. It was really that second period that carried them, especially with 2 finding the back of the net off the stick of Ryan Mansfield. So, again, could be that teams like Shreveport obviously doing everything they can to stay alive in the playoff race, and a lot more games played underneath a lot of these guys' legs as compared to when they faced off back in Thanksgiving. Again, at that time, the longest losing streak for the Mudbugs in their franchise's history was this season at 8 games, with those 7th and 8th losses coming at the hands of the Jacks when they swept them on Thanksgiving weekend. Mudbugs unable to clear it. Played out in front, they score! From the top of the crease, they cut the lead in half. It is 6-3 Shreveport. And I believe that one should go down as a power play goal. Ryan Kelly is a 6-3 score with under a minute left to go. One back by Odessa on the left wing wall. Dvorny fires it off the end boards back over to Boback. And it is a power play goal for the Jacks. They go for 1 for 6 now off the stick of Ryan Kelly. Our first goal since Mansfield's multi-goal night back in period number 2. Duclair leaves it on back near side. Offside is Odessa as it was fired towards Boback, blocked by Haru off the stick of Dvorny. Just 15 seconds left to go here in regulation. It's a 6-3 lead for Shreveport as it's whipped around the yellow trim near side. Duclair stretches it across. And they gain the red line and fire it deep. Just 5 seconds left to go here in regulation, and that will do it. Here from the George's Pond Hirsch Coliseum, Mudbugs 6, Jackalopes 3. As the Jacks are now 4-1 against Shreveport here this season. They will take on them tomorrow. Same time, same place. 7-11 puck drop from Shreveport, Louisiana. As the Jacks trying to split the weekend series and keep Shreveport away from jumping over them for a playoff spot. The Jacks, again, now have a record of 24-18 1-4, and they're on a 4-game losing streak, 0-3, 0-1. As for the Mudbugs, they are now 23-17, 1-4. They now have 51 points, and they move to a 4-game winning streak. They are 13 wins as the home team, and the Jacks have now lost their 11th as the visitor. And the Mudbugs now go to 18-6-1 when scoring the game's first goal. Well, we'll be back with game number 2 tomorrow at 7:11 p.m. Central Time from the Georges Pond Hirsch Coliseum. It was at one point a 2-2 game, a very close one, and then a breakout flurry of goals from Shreveport. They had scored 3 unanswered, and it made it a 5-2 score after 40 minutes of play. Added 1 to make it 6 off the stick of Koklichev. And then most recently, a power play goal, something to maybe build on. Like I was saying earlier, those little things could pay dividends down the line. And they get it via power play thanks to Ryan Kelly. Unfortunately, do not come up the victors here in this game. Game number 47 of 60 for them is in the books. And will go down as a loss. But game number 48, a new day and a new game. And it will come in the form of a matchup against a team 2 points behind them in the standings. And we'll just take a quick look around the NHL scoreboard. And I quickly just saw that the Warriors and the Ice Rays have 19 seconds left in overtime of a 4-4 game. So right now the Jacks have dropped to sole possession of fourth place with 53 points. The Warriors will at least get 54 for a potential to get 55 if they beat the Ice Rays. And right now the Mudbugs are at 51. And the Ice Rays will be at 47 with the potential to get 48 if they beat the Warriors. The Brahmas look like they have beaten the Ice Wolves, so they now pull within 1 point, I should say, of the Ice Wolves. New Mexico 67, Lone Star 66. And the Wranglers and Rhinos are tied at 1 apiece with about 6:30 left to go in that second period there. For the Jacks' sake, of course, you want to be able to clinch a playoff spot as quickly as possible, but they're going to need help from other teams in the South Division. Teams like El Paso can certainly play spoiler as well, as some other teams still have to play them across the board. The Jacks, not one of those teams. But if the Rhinos are able to beat the Wranglers, I know the Wranglers are in 7th, but they have 45 points, and if they kind of get a little hot, the Jacks still have to play them 4 times throughout the rest of this regular season, with those two of the first 4 of those games being next weekend when the Jacks return back on home ice at the Ector County Coliseum to start off their final 8 home games of the 2021-22 campaign. So those will be important games. They still have another weekend series against Shreveport, and they play New Mexico, who they have played very well this season, winning 3 of the games and have swept them once this season. They have to play them 4 times still. So a lot of hockey left, and with a weekend series still on the schedule against the Wichita Falls Warriors, who they have split a lot of weekends against. That could be a pivotal turning point to the regular season. So winning tomorrow obviously is at the forefront of everybody's mind, especially head coach Scott Dewar, who is trying to become the first head coach behind the bench for the Jackalopes to extend into the playoffs for the first time in 3 seasons, as his team has an overall record of 24-18-1-4. The Jacks get a power play goal to end things on thanks to Ryan Kelly at the top of the crease past Devin Bobag, but he gets his 19th win of the season. He's 19-9-1-3. He is one of the top goaltenders for the NAHL and has just been getting a lot of ice time so far, and you can see why, as he again will finish out the night with 20 saves, I should say, and 30 saves for Alex Proctor, a 23-shot night for the Jacks, and a 36-shot night for Shreveport here in game number 1. Again, Mudbugs have a 3-3 going up against 2 against Odessa won on Sunday against the New Mexico Ice Wolves, so a lot of hockey for them this weekend, but a 6-point opportunity for them to really go on and, of course, climb the ladder. They have never missed the playoffs in their NHL history, so they are trying to keep that streak alive. As for the Jacks, they keep the goal streak alive moving into tomorrow, but they're looking to keep that point streak alive as they lose by a score of 6-3 here in regulation in game number 1. We'll see you tomorrow for game number 2 at 7:11 p.m. Have a great night, everybody.